Well, we're all having to stay inside. And at home anyways, you don't necessarily have to stay inside. But for us introverts, that's wonderful because that's what I do all the time. But I know there's so many extroverts out there that are probably about to pull all of your hair out. I teach art for a nonprofit school in South Dallas for dyslexic students. Hi guys! And also for one of the public libraries here and there throughout the year. Hi to you guys too. And I just thought, while we're at home, let's not miss our art classes. So what I thought, I'd create some arts and craft classes. That it's possible you might have these supplies already at your house, so you wouldn't have to go out and get them. And if not, it's possible you can pick them up at the grocery store as well. We're going to be making a mosaic, a terrarium out of a 2-liter Coke bottle, and then possibly painting that as a still life. And I'm formulating a 3rd class as well, and some more coming up after that. But those are the 2 I know I'm about to launch first. So stay tuned and have fun. And if you're another library that I don't teach at, or another school, and you're needing some program to send out, please feel free to share this as well. If you guys are having a good time, and let's get to the class.
For supplies, you'll need tape, a pencil, a hole punch, glue, a black marker with a fine tip if you have one, but any black marker will do, scissors, and Q-tips. You'll also need cardboard to attach your project to, and if you don't have a cardboard box or pieces of cardboard lying around, you can use the inside of a cereal box. I will be using colored paper in this example, but you can also use any paper you have in your house to create these designs, and I'll have a separate video showing me creating a design using just newspaper in a cereal box. And that is pretty much all that you need. Here is a couple of the designs that I created. I will show you piece by piece how I made each part of this design, and then at the end I will show you a time lapse of me putting this together so that you can create what I did at home, or you can use these pieces to create whatever you would like to create. And now let's get to how I created each of the pieces that go into the hole. We're going to start out with the red flower, and the red flower I did red petals with an orange center and a curly Q stem. You don't have to make these flowers the same colors that I made them. I just chose colors and stuck with the same colors for each flower that was in that design. And I decided on a stem pattern for each flower as well. You can mix and match these patterns, change the colors up. And if you have smaller children, you can make the stems more simple. And I'm going to cut out 3 red petals. And a small orange circle for the pistil if you're learning about plant parts and science, or the middle if you're not. Cut about 1/3 of the way up from the pointed edge of the petal. Add some glue with your Q-tip to one side of the cut and bend together, forming a cup out of the bottom portion of your petal. You will have to hold this together for a little bit so it sticks. After you've done that with all 3 petals, and you can flip down the ends when you do this, you will add each petal on top of each other in a circular pattern to where they form an overall cup, adding glue in between and pressing firmly and holding for a few minutes until the pieces stick together. Once you've done that, you will add glue to the center and add the orange piece. And that is how you form the red flowers. Now we'll create the orange flowers. For the orange flower, you'll cut out 2 pieces to form the flower base. One that has 4 petals and one that has 3. And the one that has 3 petals, once you've cut it out, you will bend the petal pieces upwards. You'll then add glue to the middle of the 4-petaled piece and add the 3-petaled piece on top. Put 3 dots of glue and add hole punches out of yellow paper to form your center. I created this leaf type for this flower and added 2 to 3 leaves with each flower, cutting a very thin stem and then folding it in a fan pattern to give it dimension. I didn't give these flowers actual flower names because the red and orange flower can look like multiple different types of flowers. Now for the purple flower, and I did model this flower after violas. It has a 4-petal shape, top 2 petals being smaller, and a heart shape, bottom 2 petals being a little larger, and a 2-petal piece on a 1-petal piece forming the flower base. You'll start out by cutting a small incision to the bottom of the 2 larger petals, and using the same cup shape you used for the red flower, you'll add some glue to one side. Press to hold those 2 petals together so that they stick. Use the 1-petal piece to cover up where you bent those flowers into shape, or those 2 petals into shape. Moving over to the back side, adding glue to the top heart-shaped petals, you'll add the 2-petal piece to the back. And once you've let that set to where it doesn't come apart, we will add some glue to the top heart shape and attach our yellow, kind of like a half starburst piece to form the color variation of the violas. To create that inner yellow piece, like a little sun flare, I drew out these little spikes. One of the cutting techniques that I used is cutting across the tips and then down the outer edges, and then that way I could cut in and cut out each individual's flare, and that was a lot easier to use the scissors, especially if you have a smaller child, than trying to cut in and out of each little flare. Then we're going to take our black marker, hopefully with a fine tip, but if you don't have one or all you have is a black marker, that's okay. Create our design on the inside. Then we're going to make the leaves. I use thin squiggly leaves that come to a point. Now for the ladybug. I personally love the ladybug the best. You're going to cut out an oval is the best shape, but you can do it with a circle too. You're going to cut about a third of the way up on both sides of the oval, or the long edges. Add a little bit of glue like we did in the red flower, both sides. And bend both sides down in the same direction, forming a cupped shape. The antennas I cut out are a little kind of a stem with a ball on the end that goes off to one side. If you have a smaller child, you can just do straight antennas. Also, I found that it was easier to cut the antennas out in the same direction that my hand wanted to rotate, because I'm right-handed, to the left. So I cut both antennas out the same way and then just flipped one. Also, for the dots, as you've already seen, I used a hole punch. If you do not have a hole punch, you can cut these out. It'll be a little bit easier to fold the paper and cut small semicircles to make your dots. For the tape, for the antennas, I taped them on, adding a piece of tape to the very tip, flipping it over to the tacky side and then taping it to the inside, bending both antennas up so that they lay flat when you put the ladybug down. With your Q-tip, you can add dots of glue all over where you would like to put the spots. I just went ahead and put the glue everywhere I was going to put spots. That seemed to go a lot faster than trying to put glue, put a dot, put glue, put a dot. So I just went ahead and added the glue everywhere I wanted to put the spots, and then I was able to it stayed tacky long enough to just add all the punches. Again, on these, I don't think I mentioned this earlier. If you have smaller kids and you're watching this, they're, 4, 5, 6, or just learning to use scissors, you can do any of these patterns by just making them really large so that they're not as complicated to cut out. The grass is pretty simple, squiggly lines that come to a point, really tall, as tall as you want to make it. Almost like feather-like shape. They're very small, they're like only 1.5 inches, and I cut out, I don't even know, probably 60 of them or so, and I used them to create the sky. You could also use the blue pieces to create water. Clouds are very simple, fluffy clouds. Make sure you use big, bubbly outsides to create the clouds, because the finer the bubbles that you make on the outside or the fluff, and it gets harder to cut out. And for the sun, we're going to create 2 starbursts, one larger and one smaller. I did that by drawing a circle, one larger circle, one smaller circle, and on the larger circle I did larger sun rays, and on the smaller circle, smaller sun rays. Once I cut them out, I took the smaller starburst, put the sun flares up, added a dot of glue to the middle of the larger sunburst, and then attached the smaller one to the middle. Also, I didn't use the same amount of sun flares on the bottom as the top, intentionally, because it gave it better sun effect, but you certainly can if you'd like to use the same amount. And now here is example of putting this together. You can create the same design that I did, or you can create your own designs. It'll be fun to see people's different variations using these flower designs and stem designs, and what colors you decide to use in arrangements, or if you come up with your own flower. And here's some sped up video of the creations I made using these different flowers, and I show one more complicated design and one less complicated design if you've got smaller children and who are not going to want to sit around to glue as many flowers and pieces onto a piece of paper. Also, in a separate video, I will show you what I created out of newspaper, and I'll also have the instructions on how to make a large ladybug, which is exactly the same, but I'll just have that video all the same. And I hope this video was fun and that you enjoy paper gardening.